right now. Very, very glad to have them in the studio. Special guest this week for this Thursday's two-shooter. Right here, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, Ken and Jim. Greetings, guys. Thank you for coming down this afternoon to speak with us.
Well, thank you so much for having us here, Aaron. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Now, I wanted to just kick off this segment by asking you guys, for those of you who might not know, who you guys are, what you're about, and basically the message and information you're trying to get out there to, and not only to New Jersey, but judging from your website, just the whole medical field.
Well, we are the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. I'm the executive director of it. We've been around since 2003. The mission of our organization is to educate the public about the benefits of safe and legal access to medical marijuana. We believe marijuana is a safe, effective, and inexpensive therapeutic agent, and it should be available to any patient who can benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem I've kind of run into, at least in my research, because this is something I've been interested in for numerous years now. I guess since ever being in college, way back, 20 years old. So for me, just over 5 years, I've been very interested in this. And a lot of hurdles that I've at least come across in articles and also in conversation with people is that there's this humongous, for whatever reason, this humongous taboo with marijuana. And I don't even like calling it marijuana anymore. I prefer, because that's just Spanish for Mary Jane. I prefer the term cannabis, but however you want to refer to it as, it's almost got more names than God at this point. But there's the huge taboo with this plant, this seemingly viable medical resource.
Useful plant. Yeah.
Why is there such a taboo surrounding it?
That's been going on for a long time. I don't know if it's coincidence that about the time communism stopped being a factor, marijuana gained more notoriety. It was almost like we have time for one boogeyman at a time, and lately it's been marijuana. As far as it goes in medical circles, though, the taboo is generally overridden when it becomes a matter of life and death within one's family.
Absolutely. And right now in New Jersey, for anyone who doesn't know, we're trying to push, a lot of people are trying to push for medical marijuana, and that would make New Jersey the 14th state to have a medical marijuana program. And how close are we to having this possibility here in New Jersey, in the Garden State?
Well, we were very encouraged in December when the Senate Health Committee voted the bill out of committee. The bill was introduced by Senator Scutari in January of 2005, so it's been in committee for 4 years now. And to get out of this key health committee and to go for a vote before the entire Senate was a very big step. The next step that we expect is a vote by the entire Senate, and we expect that. Right now, it's tentatively scheduled for February 23rd of this year. So, if it's approved by the entire Senate, then it will go to the Assembly Health Committee, and then a vote by the entire Assembly, and then it would go to the Governor Corzine's desk for his signature. And Governor Corzine said he supports the bill. So
he does. Okay.
Yes, he said that numerous times. So we think we have a very good shot at having medical marijuana in a program here in New Jersey after the regulations are written by the summer of this year.
Really, by the summer of this year, that could be the earliest you see it, and this is, you think, a likelihood this could happen this summer, medical marijuana program here in the Garden State.
We're guardedly optimistic that it will happen. The New Jersey politics can throw some curveballs sometimes, but right now it's looking very promising that New Jersey will become the 14th state to have medical marijuana. It's going to happen eventually, Aaron.
Yeah.
There's just too much science and logic and common sense that supports it. How long it takes for the legislators to get on board with this is another question, but we hope it'll be soon.
Absolutely. Now, Ken and Jim, I would like to ask you, how did you guys get started in this pursuit, this coalition, if you will? Well,
I got started with the cause of medical marijuana in late 1990 when my late wife, Cheryl, she had MS for 2 decades then, all she could move was her head, and her neurologist was worried. That sent me looking. She didn't socially use marijuana, or she might have known the benefits already. I came across an article from the Journal of the American Medical Association from 1979 that said it may lessen MS spasticity and pain. Cheryl wouldn't smoke it. It bothered her lungs. There was a risk there, so I made her marijuana in a salad dressing. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of almost hoped it didn't work because nothing else did, and it wouldn't have been a surprise if it didn't. But that it did, it was like a tale of two cities. It was the best of news, and it was the worst of news. It was a medicine that worked. There was something I could do to help her. I promised her when we got married, she had MS then, that I would do for her whatever her arms and legs couldn't. And that included breaking law from then on till the day she died 5 years ago. So I saw it work, and it worked in conjunction with her other medicines. She didn't have to smoke it, but unfortunately, because she ate it, we had to be sure it wasn't a contaminated supply. That was few and far between, which meant the reason that I know it worked so well is the times that it hurt her so bad when she didn't have it. And that's how I became involved.
And what about you, Ken?
Well, I'm a registered nurse. I've been in NORN since 1976, so I've been practicing in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania for 32 years. I like to travel. I travel frequently. I've been to Europe half a dozen times and to Caribbean and whatnot. But a gentleman by the name of James Burton in Amsterdam. And Mr. Burton told me this very compelling story. He said that he was a glaucoma patient, and the male members of his family had already gone blind from glaucoma, and his eyesight was failing, and he had expected to go blind because no medication was working for him. Then one day when he's in his 30s, he tries marijuana for the first time, and he notices an almost immediate improvement in his vision. He talks to his eye doctor about this, and his eye doctor says, by all means, continue to use the marijuana. So Mr. Burton's a farmer. He grows marijuana on his farm. And he's discovered by the government for growing this marijuana, and he's arrested, and he's sent to trial. At his trial, his doctor even testifies that he needed this marijuana, and he recommended this marijuana for Mr. Burton. And but nevertheless, Mr. Burton was convicted of growing marijuana, and he was sentenced to a year in prison. He spent a year in a maximum security federal prison, and when he was in jail, the government seized his home and his farm for producing that marijuana that was saving his sight. And of course, he couldn't get the marijuana when he was in prison, and his eyesight was deteriorating. When he was released from prison, he fled the country, never to return. And he's living in Amsterdam, and that's where I ran into him, where marijuana is freely available. And I was so moved by this man's story that our government could do this, that I when I came home, I researched the story. I found out he was telling the truth about it. It was newspaper accounts of it, and that it was really only the tip of the iceberg. This was happening to patients all over the country.
What comes to mind is we're so worried now about the rights of the prisoners in Guantanamo. Meanwhile, this poor guy, you know what I mean, the American citizen.
American citizen, yes, an expatriate, and he, to have to go to Europe to save your vision is just wrong. And what happened to him was just a terrible social injustice.
But God bless him for doing it, for standing up for his own health rights.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Now, you said that he went to Europe, is now living in Amsterdam, and from being over there, for me, you sound very well traveled. In spots like Amsterdam, who obviously allow marijuana use, not a problem, and you hear the old, there are plenty of jokes about Amsterdam, and that's why you go there. I personally just want to go there for the Van Gogh Museum, but there are many stores. It's freely available, many markets. Is there a crime issue with it at all? Do you see, like, are people running the streets? Are babies, bleeding from their eyes? I mean, really, is there a huge problem over there with anything compared to the United States?
Not only is there not a crime issue associated with the freely available marijuana in Amsterdam, but the teenage use of marijuana in the